All right, we are live. Let's see. Music may be a little loud, we'll see. Nicodemus, nice. Straight in here. DDJ, what's up? How you guys doing? How was your weekend? I need to work on my posture. Hey, Chaz Solo, quick Sana. Nicodemus said, "Nice background. Water looks amazing." Yeah, it's another badass illustration from Goblin. Nibrock, thank you for 6 months. Howdy. Was a nice weekend as a Browns fan, DDJ. Man, I've been in Europe way too long. Browns, Cleveland, right? Talet, hello. How's the music level? This song's a little bit more of a This song's going for it, so the other songs are a little bit quieter. Was it just moving? No. Yeah. How about now? The other songs are a little bit chiller. So I don't mind the theme drowning me out a little bit, just because it's good mood music. Sorry, I'm running a couple minutes late. I was on the balcony smoking my pipe, enjoying the last few minutes with Jasmine before bed. She'll probably be in bed asleep by the time we're done here. Hey, Dutchie. Quick Santa, the hand's all right. I think I'm curious to see what rehab on the knuckles going to be like, but I think the rehab on the other fingers is actually going to be more of a pain in the ass. We'll see. Overall, it's going to be some work. I think I'm overusing the 2 fingers that actually work. They told me not to do much, period, but that's just not going to happen. So I've been doing all the work with my left hand with 2 fingers, and more I'm starting to feel it across like the hand and stuff. So only got like 3 more weeks left, 2 or 3 more weeks before we check things out, and then we'll get busy on rehabbing it. I'm currently going to rehab. I've got another appointment tomorrow for my herniated discs, and the young guy that was helping me on yesterday, on Monday, with it. I've had 2. What is it? Is it cortisone? Whatever the shots are that they do into like the spine area there. I've had 2 of those, and they really didn't do much, but the exercises the guy had me doing yesterday was like one of the first things that actually like reduce some of the numbness. So that's pretty good. Dutchy asked what happened. I used my hand for things that I shouldn't have, and have finally paid the price for it. Which discs? I think C4, C5, C5, C6 or something like that. They're all in the neck, not in the lower back, so. Rule asked if my boss beat me for not programming enough. Well, given that I am not a programmer, I would be taking a lot of beatings on that one. The closest thing I've done to programming was take a few courses back in the day on like JavaScript. I am not a programmer at all. I'm really bad at reading the manual. But I am good at Googling things, so maybe. Hey Sparrow. Radigar, right on, man. Look forward to seeing it. Nybrock says, I've got a question. Are mud commands and monsters and memories based on proximity to a trigger spot? I'm curious if mud commands can be used against something you have targeted, like a mob. At the moment, they are environment only. We don't have any mud actions linked to NPCs of any sort, but it is something that's come up a few times in like use cases that we've cobbled together or discussed in the past. So I do think it would be something that's applicable, and I wouldn't be shocked if we do something with it in the future. Though you need to watch walking up to an NPC and pulling, rubbing, or tasting. That may result in something bad. Or a new friend, I don't know. I mean, we could definitely go the modern RPG route. Maybe to build a relationship. Seems to be all the craze. Nicodemus says, I had an old football injury where I went around for 16 years with a broken L4. Got titanium now. Best investment I've ever made. So help me understand that one a little bit better. So you actually broke the vertebrae, and then you didn't have problems after they screwed it together or replaced it, or was it a replacement? Hey, Miko Bites. You're welcome, Nybrock. Nibrock or Nybrock? Ooh, so I ordered this book today. I'm so excited to get it. I've been trying to be disciplined in not buying a bunch of actual tangible books. So I usually listen to audiobooks. Great investment because I can go through a book while walking the dog, in the grocery store, going back and forth to places, whatever, cleaning house, cooking. So it's been great to be able to go through a number of audiobooks, and then I've got my Kindle because when I moved to Europe, my goal was just to be as mobile as possible. Bless you, Jasmine. Be as mobile as possible and not have to ship a bunch of stuff back and forth. Because I still have a storage room in Austin full of books, and I really need to fix that. But anyways, I did buy the hardback version of this like history of the CRPG book. A Guide to Computer Role-Playing Games Expanded Edition. Somebody here had suggested it a while back, and so this is on the way, but you also get a PDF, and just in a couple minutes right before I was, right as I was waiting for Jasmine to get home and start cooking dinner, I was reading the intro, and I'm already hooked. Really cool intro. I skimmed a little bit, and these sections look really fun. And man, just the nostalgia already. So I'm super excited about this as a bit of inspiration and an investment. I mean, ooh, man. Already got me in the feels on some of these. Oh, it's gonna make me want to go back, and I've got the feeling GOG is going to get some more cash, but man, look at this right here. I totally forgot about these. I remember these. The wizardry graph paper that came with it. Brilliant. But this just looks like an amazing read. The history. Look at this thing. Radigar, is yours in already? Oh, so much inspiration. Still on the way? Okay, cool. Man. Thudev said the book is awesome. Got mine a couple weeks ago. It's huge. Oh, it looks it. Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait to be able to just like sit out. Well, we're gonna run out of balcony weather pretty soon. I was like, sit out on the balcony and puff on my pipe and dig in. Wow, there's just so much cool stuff in here. Or lay in bed with it. Super excited. Stout T said when I was a kid/teen, I got the WoW battle chest, and for the 2 months that I played that game, I couldn't keep myself out of the paperback battle guides that came with it. Love to see something like that with Eminem to hit that nostalgia. We've talked about so many of these things, and honestly, one of the things that's exciting about the potential for enough success to have the profits to be able to, just do things is the idea of making dope ass merch. Very retro style merch, right? Like even that graph paper. It's silly, but how much fun would it be to be able to make that kind of stuff for your game, right? So that's it's a motivator. Get out of zone in a minute where everything is pixelated like one of these. Nostalgia land. Don't give Ollie any ideas. Okay, so work. Let me see if I've gotten the latest. I do not have latest. Let me pull now. And that's how you access the in-game map. You buy the physical map. Yep. Ooh. Alright, so I'm grabbing the latest, then I will boot up Unity. When the weather gets crappy here in the next month or so, month and a half, What I may look at is adding another stream day, just because, you know, I'll be here unable to go to the garden and stuff like that, weather will be shit. Maybe I'll add another stream day this fall and winter, and go back to just playing old games again. I was flagging, like, bookmarking stuff on GOG that I want to play. So I think that would be fun. I enjoyed doing that when we were doing it. When was that? Like last year or something? Let's see. All right. Done pulling. Yeah, Populous on there. I'm trying to think of the last time I played Populous. For sure in college, which was... Man. Is that 30 years ago? All right, so just a heads up. I just remembered, I was thinking about timing because I knew I was going to be out of town this weekend for Jasmine's birthday. We're going to go a few hours from here where there's some actual elevation changes, topography, and go hiking for the weekend for her birthday. But we're leaving Thursday night, so we'll not have a stream this Thursday. But I will be back both days next week, even though we're going to be out of town again. But that'll only be Friday and Saturday and Sunday. It won't affect this. So apologies. But it is for a good cause. Gemini X6. Thank you for the follow. Simply Inked. Tidy Tibbs, Amp FF, Will Please, John, Pyramid C. Thank you for the follows if you're out there. They all followed while I was offline. Angel's heading to work. I wanted to wish everyone a great rest of the day. Enjoy your day of work. Thank you for popping in. Hey, Fielder. So, Radigar, and if I had to guess, maybe Nybrock were asking questions and or making statements, likely related to the design position that we've posted. I know at least one of the two of you related to that. So, we've got that posted both on our website and we've got that on the open roles in our Discord. So take a look at that. We've updated that with some additional information that is important. If you're watching this VOD, it's still applicable to you. Because we're going to take a little while and just kind of we've definitely naturally had some interest there. So we're going to be taking a look at the write-ups that people are putting together, and you know, we'll be going through all of them, and so we can make the most informed decision possible. Just a quick overview of what that says. Here, I'll do this. Make this a little bit bigger. Cool. Break out the super tool. All right.
Sorry if you've mentioned it already, but did you hear about all the Unity pricing nonsense that everyone is talking about today?
Yeah, so I saw that there was some discussion of it on my my sort of a loving robot Discord, which you can find here. But we mainly just talk about random stuff and occasionally some design stuff and mostly gardens. If you're into gardens and you're not there, check it out. And first also sent it over within our group and was looking at it with Holly. It doesn't really have any implications for us. I haven't really gone through it in detail and considered implications, generally speaking. I concur with Ollie's response on it, which is it's mainly impacts mobile. And so if I understand it correctly, again at a glance, it's based on install and revenue. So let me see. Let me bring it up here. Roll up. There we go. Bring it over here. I'll tell you what, let me hit that right after I read through this, since I've already started this thought, and then we'll yeah, you didn't derail it, I derailed it, but Librock, see ya. I can even guess who you are now. Enjoy your meeting. So this part is important if you're one of the people doing the applying for a design role. So brushes red. If you're interested in the role, please write up a quest of any size and complexity with full outline / breakdown of implementation, a brief zone subsection or point of interest description detailing population as well, a description of a text-based interaction with an object or aspect of the environment, a 3-paragraph summary of who you are, why you're interested in M&M, and what value you hope to provide / where you would like to make the biggest impact. We'll be looking for brevity, clarity, and attention to detail. What format works best? What level of detail are we looking for? Where should you start? If you're looking for a hint on how to format or approach this work, here's a riddle. The hint to help you on your quest will later serve the players best. There you go. It's a hint. I think I thought that riddle up in the shower, so forgive me. That hint is something we reference. We reference this resource all the time on streams and Discord. And so you should be able to figure out. All right. Have fun with that. Keep in mind, we also, we still have the environment artist role open as well. With that one, we mainly focused on textures, but that is one where we've got a specific art style. Same thing with the design role. We've got almost or just at 400 videos. You folks have been in here a lot over the months and years. So we've got a lot of information out there about the specifics of our game. You've got a feel for our art style. You know the level of fidelity we're shooting for. You're knowing the quirks, and you know the quirks in bits and bobs and all that stuff that we like. So, and you even know the format that we love based on the resource that we often use in here. So, I feel like there's a fair amount of reference for you to pull from. And it should make things a little bit easier. So, the answer is the man, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There you go. You're welcome, Nicodemus. The answer is Notepad if Sean came up with it and it formats words. Alright, so this Unity thing. As many of you know, the Unity engine is in fact two substantial software components, the Unity editor and Unity runtime. Unity runtime is code that executes on player devices and makes made with Unity games work at scale with billions of monthly downloads. We are introducing a Unity runtime fee that is based upon each time a qualifying game is downloaded by an end user. Alright, so the lawyer in me is then looking at that term very specifically, qualifying. So we'll have to see where they qualify it. Hey, Justin Beard. How's the garden? Very, very weedy. But hopefully on Thursday the weather will hold up and I'll be able to get all of the trash and stuff from the roof rebuild out of the way. Yep, hand is healing okay. Alright, so I'm assuming they're going to tell us what qualifying means later. We chose this because each time a game is downloaded, the Unity runtime is also installed. Also, we believe that initial install-based fee allows creators to keep the ongoing financial gains from player engagement like a revenue share. Pessimistic Squid, the closest thing I've got in the garden to that would be tobacco. Threshold for revenue and installs. Games qualify for the Unity runtime fee after two criteria have been met. 1, the game has passed a minimum revenue threshold in the last 12 months. 2, the game has passed a minimum lifetime install count. We have set high revenue and game install thresholds to avoid impacting those who have yet to find scale, meaning they don't need to pay the fee until they've reached significant success. Pessimistic Squid, tobacco is not hard to grow. It may be in certain environments, but I think there's a pretty good range. Oh, and Thudev, thank you for 5 months. I just now realized that statement was actually part of your sub thing. Yeah, if you look into it, Pessimistic Squid, it's really been pretty hardy. So that's probably why you find so much of it all over the world. Justin, I would have to look. I forget. I have 3 or 4 different varieties of tobacco seed. I think I've only ever planted one, and then I've been using the seeds from the first tobacco plant to grow more since then. It's either a Virginia, may have been a Virginia. I'd have to look. We'll follow up on that one in the garden Discord. Stout T asked earlier, sorry. Yeah, this is on the role postings and stuff is on the Eminem Discord. Alright, so Retro Roadshow said, I think qualifying means anything sold over the threshold, which is 200,000 or 200,000 downloads in 12 months for the personal license. For pro license, it's 1 million. All right, so yeah, Unity Personal and Unity Plus, $200,000 or in 12 months, or 200,000 lifetime game installs. Pro and Enterprise, million buckaroonies and 12 months, and at least 1 million lifetime game installs. And installs over the install threshold. $0.20 per install, 15 cents per install. Yeah, and so it just kind of goes through. Pro at 1,000,001 is 2 cents per install, 1 cent per install. Yeah, so I don't know. People that have been following the response to this, Thudev, Retro Roadshow, is what is the stated source of apprehension or angst within the communities that you're looking at to this? I mean, it increases cost per install, but folks that are mostly going to be affected by this are already looking at cost per install and then return on investment. Pricing doesn't sound unfair to little guy. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's not going to affect us. And when you're looking at the guy who did Gary's mod, is dividend going off? Yeah, I'd have to look at their specific arguments because I'm probably missing something. I know mobile's already been taking some hits just with some of the changes that have happened in the last few years on the various platforms, but again, not really being in the mobile space anymore. I haven't kept up with it very much. No, Justin, this shouldn't affect small studios. Because there's the and condition here, right? Like, and again, if I'm wrong, feel free to point it out. So, say you have a game. Say you're a small team and you have a game, and you get 200,000 installs, right? Because it's a mobile game. To hit these numbers in a non-mobile environment would be interesting, right? To get hundreds of thousands or millions of installs is typically one of those good problems to have, unless you're a company that's basically just getting a shitload of installs anyway, right? You know, through performance marketing, or you know, affiliates and things like that. And so it's possible to get a ton of installs, I guess, and have all of those people churn. But the nature of the business is really like spamming out installs, or basically trying to get a shitload of installs and then seeing what little fractional percentage of those players actually convert to be pay users. To, you know, like, if you're getting 200,000 or you're getting 1 million installs and you're not converting them beyond just like a few percentage, then you're already kind of sunk, so it doesn't matter. And so you're not going to see the revenue, right? Like, you're not going to see this revenue. What about piracy? They need to explain that. Yeah, I'm not sure. My assumption is if there's a ton of piracy going on somehow, like, again, where would that be happening? Sideloading on a phone? And if you have 200,000 people pirate your game, I guess off of some, on a platform where that's feasible, then you make $0. All right, so 200,000 people. So I've triggered this part of the condition. 200,000 people have installed my game, but I get 0 money for it. Then this doesn't go into effect. No, I mean, there's definitely piracy, Justin, but like with us, if somebody pirates our game, all that does is they actually just sort of act as another form of, like, if you get onto a torrent when we go live and you download Monsters and Memories, cool, that just saved us from, our CDN didn't have to push it to you, right? Like, so it's just a new, it's a different vector of content delivery. We make our money off the subscription. A lot of the games that are going to have 1 million installs and make $1 million in a year are probably going to, like, in the mobile space at least, where this is I think more of an issue, because again, in mobile, let me take that back, because I keep saying mobile. In free to play, this is more of a free-to-play issue, right? So 1 million people download your game because it's free to play, and they can play the game. Maybe it's a free-to-play MMO, maybe it's a free-to-play whatever. They've downloaded your game, and they can play without paying. And so that is going to impact you, maybe because you're in a situation where either nobody pays for your free-to-play game. You're hosed anyways, right? Because you've got development costs, you've got operating expenses, and you've got, if it's an MMO, you've got, things like server cost in those operating expenses, etc. You got a staff, right? So you're already hosed with your million players and no money. Then the question becomes, if you're free-to-play, what's your conversion rate? Of these 1 million people, how many people are actually paying? And then that's the numbers game no matter what. And so then essentially all this is adding this in as an additional cost to consider as part of the operating expenses for that game. Let me catch up on things that you're saying here. Retro says, I think the main contention is people feel like it was a bait and switch. They got a good portion of the industry locked into their ecosystem, and now they're just bringing a tax on projects that are well established and can't change course at this stage. I think that's always potentially fair. I'm curious, what I didn't understand, because I haven't read this yet, is what's going on with any other costs. Finally, Unity Plus is being retired for new subscribers effective today. Existing subscribers do not need to take immediate action. Will receive an email mid-October with an offer to upgrade to Unity Pro for 1 year at the current Unity Plus price. So you're still paying for seats for the tooling. But yeah, so I could see the bait and switch concern or response for people that are either live or well into development, and now they're looking at this. Again, unless I'm just wrong, I think the overall impact on this is liable to be minimal. Let's see, Stout T said, for a game like M&M that'll likely be subscription based, I guess the strategy would be to only provide the user with the installer after they pay to sub for a month to restrict the impact of the profit sharing. Yeah, I just potentially that may be sort of the order of operations. That said, at the scale that we're looking at, we're not gonna. And we would hit the revenue before we would probably hit the install. Because let's get real, if M&M comes out and we've got 200,000 installs, you can download and install 100,000 times if you like. I am curious to see like how they track those installs. Somebody in, I think, Discord was coming on that. Retro Roadshow says it's contingent on 1 million in sales and 1 million downloads. That's going to be a hard target for most devs to hit, especially free-to-play games. I think for mid to bigger companies, it's actually going to be pretty easy to hit. On the free-to-play side. But it also won't, it shouldn't be that big of an impact. Can the grandfather already existing projects though? I would think the agreement at the time of a launch of a game would take precedence over terms of service. That's a fair question, Nicodemus. Retro Gamer asks, when will Monsters and Memories come out? Don't know. Would you have to pay each time someone uninstalls and reinstalls? Seems like someone could maliciously script something like that to cost you a lot of money. I'm not sure how they're tracking it. A lot of this, and maybe it's just a bias that I've already got built in. A lot of this does feel, like Ali said, mobile based, which then install information would likely be validated by the platforms. And so once you've installed once, even if you've uninstalled, the platforms know that you've installed. Some of it, they may even say like, would you like to reinstall? And so, excuse me. Why is it installs, not copies sold for games that aren't free to play? Suinin, fair question. Yeah, whenever something happens with Unity, it's interesting because maybe I just don't follow enough other developers or something. Maybe I don't follow the right developers. I'm never on Twitter, so that's helpful, I think. Because there's a lot of people that have like there's a lot of people making games on Twitter that I think they mainly are on Twitter talking about making games. And so something like this comes up and they're like, oh my god, this is the end of the world, and why does Unity hate everybody? And they're just trying to, and it's like, first of all, this is like the 8th dramatic thing since we've started our project. So the developers that really hate Unity should have switched engines by now. Godot, Unreal, write your own, whatever. Mario RPG Maker, whatever it is, switch. But whenever this stuff has come up and we've sat and looked at it, and you know, Ollie big brains it and looks at what the impact's going to be on us, it's kind of like, meh. We just kind of like shrug our shoulders and continue to make our game. Not trying to you know, diminish anybody in here's experience or say you shouldn't be frustrated or whatever. I just, if we have 200,000 installs, we're probably going to be good. We'll just add this to our spreadsheet, right? Like at the end of the day, everything's a spreadsheet entry looking at you know, what our actual expenses are. Somebody asked, I missed it. Somebody asked something. Is there an estimation year out for early release for us? Jep Krep? Is that the question? DMay93 mentioned, I dislike that it's flat because it disproportionately affects indie devs, since larger devs are priced higher and impacted less by 20 cents. Yeah. It is interesting to see how it scales. I'm curious what the logic was when they wrote that up. Like, I wonder what their thinking was on that, if there was any real thinking on it. Or if it's just someone came up with a scale and they didn't necessarily consider. But it is interesting for the bigger, or at least the way it was a few years ago when I was actually having to deal with this. The bigger companies are already paying a fair amount for those installs, right? Because it's not like you're just getting installs. It's not like you just put it up on a shop and it's like, oh, we put it on the we put it on the platform store and people are just going to discover it and we're going to get millions of installs. Typically you're paying for each one of those installs. So this is just an additional cost. And then what you're trying to balance out is that cost of acquisition relative to the revenue per user. Like, average revenue per user needs to exceed your cost of acquisition. Oh. They are not dwarves yet. They are halflings. And I have accidentally, with my busted hand, pushed the wrong button. Demay says, yeah, I mean, I definitely recognize that's a champagne problem. Any small indie dev team would probably be over the moon to have that many sales. And so then the question also becomes like, all right, so if it's not a product, like basically how are you monetizing your product? Is it a single like upfront cost? So is it it's a $5 game? Or is it free to play, which means odds are, I mean, if it's a free to play game, just put in I don't know, a unicorn hat or some shit that's costs $1 and or $5, and then I mean it's just it's the same shit that free to play is always having to deal with. And so just put in some more whatevers and see how they sell, and then or it's a subscription based game. So the question becomes is your conversion rate one? Because it's not, you can't just say it's additional whatever it was 20 cents per actual user, because you're going to have a certain amount of installs that just churn then, right? Now, I wonder, this probably isn't it. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I'm also wondering, I know this isn't it, but part of me also then goes, is Unity trying to get better games made with their engine? And hear me out. This is why I'm going that route. I make a free-to-play game and I get like 3 million installs because some bot went around to all the discords showing you naked anime breasts and saying, play our game made with Unity. And it gets I get a ton of installs, but the game is just so horribly bad that there's like a 1% retention rate on the game. That said, the and statement still makes it so that the 1% would still have to pay a shitload of money, which, I mean, that is kind of free to play. And then they qualify for essentially, you know, being taxed. Yeah, I don't know. That's obviously not it, but like I said, I am ignorant to the implications of this, broadly speaking. I am rusty on my free to play. I'm rusty on mobile and platforms in general that want 30% of your. Yeah, it's funny because you're already, as a developer, you're already dealing with platforms taking between what, 12, 15 and 30% of your revenue just for making it easier to find and install your game. So, which is, compared to this, like, brutal. Is Unity shovelware engine of choice? Don't know. Haven't looked at the stats. But it is easy to get into and it is easy to make stuff on. And sometimes people make crappy stuff. Hey, Dark Inside. But I think the and statement is helpful. Though I could definitely see where there's potentially situations where it's like, John said Steam is 30%. It's actually well worth it, in my opinion. John knows better than I do. John has shipped more games on Steam than I have. Most of the companies I worked at basically just had their own mechanism for distribution. And usually when we've looked at it in the past at companies is like after the bulk of our customers have already sort of signed up. So then it was a question of, will Steam give us an opportunity to reach more eyeballs? I think a game like ours, and I could be wrong on this, it's something we'll discuss more later, I guess, but I think a game like ours may not benefit in the same way from the exposure that we would get on a different platform. But we may find that that's not true, and over time change our stance on whether or not we want to be on a platform like Steam or... And if I remember correctly, it's 30% period, right? So if you're selling your game for $10, and it's a game with potentially broad appeal, and doesn't necessarily have like a super sort of core community, then the 30% may make sense. But if you've already got if you build up a core community, you're handling your own distribution, and you're subscription based, 30% of your monthly subscription revenue seems like that's a big sacrifice. But I could be wrong. I don't know. John, did you hear that? What do you think about that take? Stouty says, sometimes niche games do great on Steam, and other times they get negatively reviewed for looking dated, having older mechanics, or being different in some way or another. I mean, that may still not invalidate the exposure, but I'm wondering if a game is a game is a game in this context. Aslich, good morning. Sam, what's going on, buddy? Interesting. John said, "Oh yeah, I was just referring to my experience with the marketing value Steam has provided my previous non-subscription based games. Not sure how they handle subscription-based revenue." Yeah, for some reason, and again, it's been I think a couple years since I looked into this. Esan, thank you for your generosity. Look at you, Justin. You just got a gift sub. I could have sworn it was revenue, right? So if you're selling, you know, what's the currency? I forget what the currency was called in Fortnite. So if you're selling Fortnite coins, if you've got a subscription. Now they may have, because I thought like Apple and Google were talking about like having slightly different terms for subscriptions or something like that, but I might be wrong. But I could have sworn that it was always like V-Bucks, that's right. I could have sworn it was always, hey, if you're making money off a customer, we want our cut. And they don't go like, well, if it's hard currency, then this, and if it's you know, if it's a subscription, then that. I didn't think that was the case, but if I'm wrong, you guys let me know. Because in that situation, it's like, hey, thank you very much for helping us find the customer, but you getting that big of a chunk of the lifetime value of a customer, that's a bit much. But I'm also speaking from limited experience. When I worked at Sony, the live games that I worked on were EQ1. I mean, in theory, PlanetSide, but not really. DC Universe Online. In those cases, I think it was only DC Universe Online that had it was multi-platform, and so one of the problems that we had making it cross-platform was that Sony, the console, had their own store and wanted their own cut of the and blah blah blah, and so they didn't want to mix customers in a sense. So we had our subscribers who paid through our platform, and then we had our subscribers that paid through Sony platform, and they were different. Then when I was at Kings Isle, they owned, at the time, they weren't on Steam or anything like that. So they were responsible for their own marketing, their own distribution, and they kept all the money themselves, and did really well with that. Very well with that. Then when I was at Big Point, same deal. Basically worked to market the game and basically provided their own installer, etc., etc. Same thing at Star Stable. And then what wound up happening was, if they felt like they were plateauing and couldn't acquire any more customers, new players, there was often discussion of, should we be on Steam to try to get those players as well. John said, it would be interesting to try and estimate the numbers, even with 30%. Are those customers that Steam finds mostly customers that would have never found you anyway? If so, could potentially be worthwhile. Yeah, I think that's usually the calculation, right? But then the question is, what's the LTV of the customer? What's the estimated LTV of the customer? If the LTV, like say it's a $10 game, then it's $10 plus any whatever, like expansion packs or whatever additional plans are for the monetization of the customer. All right, so maybe 10 or 15 or 20 bucks, and then it's 30% of that. Easy enough to do the math. If the LTV of the customer is significantly higher, then the question would be, is that the most affordable way to acquire that customer? Because if the primary value of like Steam is user acquisition, then the question is, what are the other user acquisition avenues that are available, and have they been exhausted yet? So if we're saying, let's say the LTV of the customer is $100 for whatever reason, because it's easier to work with, I guess. Then the cost of acquisition, and I'm not counting in anything else, which if Ollie was listening or somebody else is listening, maybe you could trigger my memory on like CDN costs or things like that. But let's just go strictly from a user acquisition point of view. If the lifetime value of the customer is $10, $100, and you're giving the platform 30% of that, so that's $30 to acquire that customer. Where could that $30 have been spent to acquire that customer elsewhere? So, like, it's been a long time since I did a Facebook ad, but say our first wave of customers that we're trying to acquire are old farts, right? Like people like me, people that were in their 20s when they played EQ and UO and DAOC, or DAOC as I like to call it, or all of that stuff. Yeah, the AARP base, Justin. Then what's the ad spend look like on like a Facebook, where Facebook's got a lot of old farts? So like, would that be a better deal? And I honestly don't know. This isn't rhetorical. It would be something. This is the kind of fun stuff that we get to that's the kind of fun stuff that we get to kind of sit and poke at. John, you know what? It'd be a fun conversation to have with you behind the scenes, actually. Kind of sit and chat about kind of some of what you're seeing and what you've liked and what you didn't like and all that stuff. I remember Stout T said, I remember you saying you were lining up a post for the MMORPG Reddit subreddit. Is stuff like that paid ads? No, they actually, that subreddit does a spotlight, so it's free. They reached out to us to, I believe, to let us know that they do a spotlight, and so we've been putting that stuff together. It's funny, I'm actually working on that with the team right now, getting the images ready and getting the text and stuff ready. So it's just free exposure. Another place where people are paying is with influencers, right? So and this is one of those questions, like for the you know, people out there that are streamers and stuff like that. One sec. Sorry. Just want to look at that. Yeah, so, you know, then that becomes another question. It's like, do we have to pay to have, when we did the stress test, we had a wonderful assortment of people like come in and check out the stress test, right? We didn't pay any of those people for any of those videos. So Sparrow made a video, Redbeard Flynn made a video, right? Like, and these are fantastic videos. They go onto YouTube to help sort of feed the algorithm in a sense, right? They're evergreen. Nathan Napalm made a great video, right? We had a shitload of videos, and we didn't pay for any of those. Hey Zuby, Boss said, hate to ask because I'm sure you get it all the time, but any idea when alpha, beta, or even release is looking? Nope, we're still working through the proof of concept, boss. And so as that comes together and we're like really happy with the game, right? Because it's a vertical slice of the game. Then we'll have a better idea of sort of how to predict where we want to go next. Like, how much more content do we need? Because if we've got a vertical slice of the game, we've got all of the features that we want and all of the, you know, a good understanding of what the game is. Then we can look at it and go, oh, do we have enough to go into like an early access? Do we want to do that and then grind it, you know, into more and more content? And how do we want to present that and how we want to manage that and what are the risks? Do we want to, you know, continue to basically stay closed but have play tests, but then really just focus on getting the appropriate amount of content in place, that type of stuff. So does that make sense, boss? But yeah, so back on the topic, the community building part of it, right? Like, so yes, Sparrow is the Sparrow that plays with Nathan on Embers. And I Am Soto-san said, oh, cool. I got into that game because of you two, right? And I'm fairly certain Embers didn't have to pay them for that. I don't know. Maybe you can disclose or not disclose. But my assumption is you're playing it because you enjoy it, Sparrow. Nope, not paid, see? And so I think that's part of the key. Like, we derive a lot of value from hanging out with all of you and talking, and oh, I'm all sorts of breaking the new tool. Very interesting. Like we derive a lot of value from streaming and running our Discord the way we do and hanging out with you guys. We get a lot of feedback and all that stuff. But it is, in effect, also a marketing element, right? Like, we come here, you ask us questions, we answer those questions in as authentic and honest a way possible. You determine whether or not you think we're full of shit. You determine whether or not our answers seem good. And then if you like what you see, then you come back. You know, you may not come back to the stream regularly because I'm freaking sitting here staring at a fire beetles that aren't moving for an hour and a half while I ramble about nonsense. You know, but that's more of a question of like, is the stream fun, not is the game fun? We put up all of our videos so that we can be discovered on YouTube. And so that you can also, again, check and see, do you think this is going to be a worthwhile investment of your time and money later? And all of that good stuff. So the people that we meet here, right? Like, you know, the Sparrows and the Nathans and the Redbeards, Larry, like all these folks, we build hopefully a real relationship with people. And then if you guys like what we have, then you're going to tell other people. So it's like, it's old school marketing. So that's the idea, right? Like make good shit, be cool with people, build relationships. You don't have to be here every stream. I've got like homies that have been here, day one, even before we started the project. The old crew, the old Keebs, and like just that whole posse from back in the day. And they stop in every, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Right? But when the game goes live, we've already planted that seed and folks are going to want to come back and check it out. I think. And then we'll start there. So that's kind of our approach to marketing more than, because the problem, we've had a couple interesting offers, since we started the project. One is a really big MMO company who was, and this isn't like humble brag. I'm just trying to, since we're on this topic, I want to sort of be clear. One of them was like a really big, really big MMO company that, and don't start naming them because I'm not going to say, right? Being polite. And they're like, basically we could work out some sort of a rev share deal, and then you'd be on our installer, or sorry, our patcher. And then everybody could kind of see and go, oh, maybe I'm into this, right? But the rev share deal was one where it's like, we'd have to change our development process, because essentially we'd go into a deal with them and they would want to know what we're doing every week, every month, whatever, like what, are we hitting these goals, blah, blah, blah. And so that makes us be a little bit more grown up than maybe we want to be. And the other thing is, and with us being volunteers, sometimes we're unpredictable schedule wise. The other thing is, this company, and then I'll just say it, one of the biggest companies in the world, because I've got people I used to work with that work at other companies. An executive at this massive multinational company was like, hey, we could probably get you on there as well, right? Like we could get you on there and you'd be exposed to millions and millions and millions of people. And it was like, again, do we want to change our approach? Do we want to change our vision potentially to make it so that because what they're going to want then is, all right, we just showed you off to millions of people, but only a tiny percentage of them actually were truly interested in your game. What's wrong with your game, right? You need to change your game. And that's not what we're shooting for here. It's like being exposed to a million randos that don't give a shit about old school MMOs, don't get the nostalgia vibe, that don't, they're not for us. They may be later, right? Like if we've got, if we've got tens of thousands of subscribers, and then maybe we've got 100,000 subscribers, it could be that by then people, randos out there would be like, oh shit, this is quirky. This is weird. This is a thing that's different than these other games that are out there. I want to try it out. And they'll come in with a different mindset. They're going to know, from the beginning. I didn't make a hand command. I meant to, sorry. Hand command is, the short answer is, it's a boxing injury. So the idea is like to just build up a base and really have a nice solid community of people that are actually looking for what we're making. And then over time, the people that were, he was fighting off Tencent for buying out the... Yes, that's what... I broke my hand fighting off all of the people with big bags of money that were coming at us. And so it was just like... it's not the right time. And it's not the right time because we're not able to make the right deal. And really what... one of the things, not the only thing, but one of the things that different folks have been able to offer us is exposure. And the concern is if we're exposed to the wrong people, all that's going to lead to is like, it's like if Asmongold comes in and makes a video about the game, right now, on one hand, it'll be fine because even if he's like, man, that looks like dog shit. There's still going to be X number of people. He's got a big enough base that there's going to be X number of people be like, you know, they may be in like chat like, yeah, that does look like dog shit. But then secretly they're like, oh, this game looks really cool. I really want to play this game. And then they'll sneak off and play us. Right. But just like millions of super randos that don't know what to expect, that maybe like have no concept that games even existed before 2015 or whatever. It's just, yeah. Secretly, are they into dog shit? Probably Nicodemus. They like to sniff. Anyway, so what did I miss up here? Soto-san said, I haven't even tried the game yet, but these streams keep me interested. Each time I catch one, I'm reminded of the dedication the team has to the game. And just think, the team is even more dedicated because they're actually getting work done right now while I'm rambling about nonsense. Stout T said, I think that mentality may give an instantaneous hit while simultaneously killing off the long-term community that you would have. Maybe not. It can. I mean, it could also... Yeah, imagine our Discord, like our Discord, which you can find here. Our Discord's a really chill, really nice place. Like, it's been incredibly pleasant. And so if all of a sudden we have 10,000 people come into that Discord of whatever it is, like 3,400, and they don't know what to expect. They're like, why does this look this way? And you know, like, and it's gonna shit on the whole vibe for all of us. And then we've got all these people that we need to get rid of, and they're sticking around, and they're like, yeah, but why is it tab targeting? Why isn't it action based? Or, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, we don't need that. It's much better, I believe, to build up a really awesome community of people that are truly interested in what we're working on, and have it grow and grow and grow, and then sell out, then go free to play, and then charge you for everything, and start selling unicorn hats in the game that have awesome stats, and then take our money and run to the islands. You're like, it was a scam. 5 years of streaming. It was a scam. We were playing the long game, fools. I pull off the mask. Reveal. Lifewater said, I watch him. He's gotten much better in his old age. Who? Asmon? Oh, I'm a subscriber, man. As soon as videos come out, I like Asmon a ton. He's a very smart guy, if that's who you're talking about. Impersonation of Asmon was spot on, though. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I was trying to do my Austin. I kind of wish I still lived in Austin. There's a lot of cool people there. But no, I think Asmon's, you know, whether he's into our game or not, at the end of the day, ultimately, I think he's a rad guy. Who is Asmon? Some of us may not know him. Asmon Gold on YouTube. Content creator. And there's something about his story, man. Like, just when he's done in the past, like the reviews of like him showing him when he was a young kid, like first playing WoW, and the stories about his mom and all that stuff. Man, just, I don't know, it makes me feel cool. You know, like makes me feel good. It's kind of like a wholesome vibe, I guess, even though he's maybe not always wholesome. Rage Esports Darky. Really? Rage Esports Darky. Okay. Thank you for the follow. 10 minutes ago. Aslich, thank you for the follow as well. Sorry I didn't do that sooner. Horse Armor DLC. Exactly. At some point, everyone has to sell. It's like the cycle of life for gaming. It took me 40 years to understand that, but now I've seen enough companies do it. Yeah, but man, when you watch like the old Blizzard retrospective, when they're talking about back when they were like Silicon and Synapse and all of that stuff, you could go a good long time before you have to sell out. Hey, Zukin, what's up, buddy? Any plans for another stress test? Yeah. Not formal plans, but don't be shocked if we do another one of them. Ollie just rewrote our networking code. I mean, I'm driven by like the chips on my shoulder, and you know, I grew up very much like an anti-authoritarian punk rock kid, punk rock hip hop little skateboard nerd, and the idea of being able to make a successful company and then continue to just kind of say F you to the standard approach on a lot of things would be such a reward. I would love to do that until retirement. This thing is not working, and I'm really bad whenever I'm streaming about actually writing up bugs and stuff, but I'm gonna make a mental note to hit this tomorrow morning. Keith, if you're watching, I've added a new command. Lifewater said that's a rare take. We need to protect you at all costs. I wouldn't think that it's that rare. Besides what you're working on, are there any future MMOs that you are excited for? Soto-san, I will say that, I mean, there are a couple of projects now that I'm excited for. I've been doing a horrible job of actually getting in and playing, but the team's been playing them. Legends of Old, the team's been playing that, and it looks cool. I'm going to... Hold on one second. Let me actually make sure I don't screw up the name. Scroll. And I need to make more links for stuff. Damn it, I feel really bad because I know the person on Discord, and hold on, I'll get you the name. Okay, I didn't want to mess it up. Aaron Shore, the single player, like the MMO, but it's single player, and the AI is like acting like players and stuff. That's extremely cool. Excited to check that out. We do have a command for eco. I'm excited for Evercraft Online. And here, I'll type it in. Or I'll just show you, actually. I think I can just show you. Aaron Shore. So Eco, Aaron Shore, then we'll also go Legends of Old. The team's been checking this out, and they're having a fun time with it. You can hit their Patreon to support them. I'll click on the Evercraft link that I just put in there. These guys are amazing and have been friends of ours for quite a while. They run playtest really pretty regularly. I'm curious. I'm very curious and excited to see what happens with Ashes of Creation. At some point, I really need to get in and play Embers Adrift. I just saw there was an announcement, I thought, in the last few weeks from them. Looked interesting. I will absolutely be playing Pantheon. I know different people in here have different opinions or whatever, but I think I've mentioned before that over the years since I started here streaming again, I've had an opportunity to meet Joppa, Chris Perkins. He's a fantastic guy. So, yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I'm forgetting something at the moment, but you guys will let me know if I'm missing something obvious. Northern Sky, but if it does, then I will play it. Command is named, not showing, or is it the Wander in Volume? It's the Wander in Volume command, but it should have like parameters here that I can tweak. And that's not working. Then clicking this like delete button's not working. So let me spawn editor. What is going on right now? All right, I'm going to enable these again. Oh man, helping 5th grader with long division. It's been a minute. Ugh. Thank God for Google, right? All right, so I've got it selected. Cool. Because I didn't hit save, it's dumped that data. But now my question is, and this will be a question for Keith, if you're out there, if you're watching this, before I can ask you. So I'm no longer seeing the spawn related am I just being dumb? I'm no longer seeing the spawn related information in the spawn controller in this inspector, because this is a new tool, but now so it's basically requiring me to use this spawn inspector tool. Which means the spawn inspector tool needs to work. So now if I want to add a new command, push a new can I kill this now? Was it just a weird use case in? Because I clicked this plus button over here instead of the new command button. Because it says commands, empty, plus. And then it did this nonsense. Right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, just because this says null, blah, 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 maybe it's because I haven't selected the command yet. Click this. which then creates a drop down with the command. So I'm like, all right, what if I want to do this very simple update, wander and volume, but it doesn't seem to refresh this. Now, if I click this as well, it seems like it perpetuates the problem, right? So if I go to whatever, go to, nope, it actually did refresh that. So if I go to wander and volume, it did it there. So it's only this first one that's janky. Hey, Zoidberg. All right, so now let's go back. So let's dump this data. Here's a zone panel. Interesting. So if I click enable here as well, it's already got the data loaded. I was just curious what will happen. So it double loaded the data, I bet. Watch. It did. Okay. Okay, at least that makes sense to me. It makes sense that it would do that. I don't know. I'm not going to, there's not a value sort of judgment on it. It's two tools pulling in data into the same scene view. Independent of each other. I'm sure these tools don't acknowledge each other's existence. They're just like hanging out next to each other like, I don't know that new tool. New tool's like, I don't know the old tool, right? That makes sense. That's normal. That's normal. And then what'll happen is if I go into spawn editor here and I disable, bubble on the left will disappear, yes. And then when I click on the actual spawn node, hello? Hello? Spawn node, hello? I'm clicking you. Okay, let's try this one more time. No? Do you not want to be clicked? Is that too far? I got you. Okay, cool. I clicked you. Good. All right, so now I've clicked them. And now if I go all the way back over here to inspector, yep. So these are the old tools. Zones panel is the old tool. Inspector is in how you interact with that. But the new tool isn't really aware of that. All right. So let me close out the old data. Disable. Because Keith has been working on a new tool set to basically improve the overall functionality that we have with like spawn editing and all that stuff. And then this is the legacy one that is put in like a couple years ago. Lifewater said, first time seeing a spawn node, does that control one spawn or multiple? In this case, it controls multiple because this is a volume as opposed to a point. So let me zoom back out. Those of you that were here last Thursday, I think we covered some of this. For new folks, watch. We'll enable the spawners. So basically what this means is it's looking in the database. It's looking in the database for this data. Zone spawn command, no. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in constants and not content, like a dummy. All right, so zone spawns. So it's just pulling up this zone spawn data for this zone, right? So, and it loads it into our scene view so that we have a visual way of manipulating it. And so these boxes, Lifewater, these are all spawn volumes, and they will vary in terms of the number of things that are being spawned here, right? So if we can even do it in this cave, it's dark sometimes, so it's but if we look here, like this ogre that's spawning up here, and since the data is loaded, you can see both, right? Like you're seeing the game view and the spawn node. So this is a single spawn node, and when you look here at the inspector, it says it's spawning this spawn table or spawn group or encounter table, depending on how old school you are. And it's only spawning one of them. The volumes, on the other hand, are spawning, in this case, I believe they're set to like 8 or 10. So we'll see if it lets me select them. This guy's been weird. Come on, let me click you. There we go. And you can see here that it's spawning Sungreet strand, SGS, underscore beetle, underscore cave, underscore placeholder. And it's spawning 10 of them. And it will just randomly spawn them within this volume. Do volumes spawn dynamically scale to player numbers, or it is finite old school style? It's finite old school style. Default to old school style whenever you're thinking about us. Encapsulation issue, parent-child relationship broken? I don't think that's it. I think it's just these are two different tools doing the same thing, existing within the editor at the same time, and I wasn't accounting for that. All right, so let's unload this data again. Disable. We'll load it with the new editor. Enable. To the question of upcoming MMOs that I want to play, like I was saying, if you weren't in here earlier, I think when the weather gets bad again and I'm not really dedicating time to the garden, probably add another stream day on to the schedule, and we'll just be playing old CRPGs and stuff. For those of you that came in late, I was saying that book we discussed months ago, this one, the CRPG book, I've ordered it. It's on the way. And I'm just so excited to plow through it. But whenever you buy a physical copy, you also get the PDF. And so I'm in heaven. So I've already been going through my GOG account and flagging a bunch of old CRPGs. And so I think we'll dive into some old CRPGs and stuff again, like we did last year. So Sparrow said, "Oh my gosh, the garden is keeping me crazy busy. Bumper crop of tomatoes preserved this year." Learning to preserve is high on my list of things to do over the winter. We had such a bad rainy summer that my garden is nothing but like ruined. It's just ruined vegetables, rotting, and weeds. So it's just, the garden this year is just, it's been a pretty big disappointment. I think between the weather and then the fact that we're having the garden house re-roofed, we just didn't spend enough time there this year, and it went to shit. So we're salvaging things. We're having a bit of an Indian summer. So there's stuff. Yeah, definitely composting a shitload, Fielder. I'm like, in my garden community, I'm like the guy that composts the most. They haul all of their stuff away, and I just compost the shit out of everything. Northern Sky said, Might Magic lost many years as a kid to those games on my Commodore. 100% same here. Zukin said, speaking of adding duders in the near future, I probably need someone to make some horse NPCs in the stables. Horses there now are just static objects. I'm happy to knock that out for you whenever the horse is ready to go. I'm going to be poking around in Night Harbor anyway, just putting in some little things here and there. Quick tangent, are you familiar with Timber Owl's Etsy work? I don't. Is that the person that makes like the crazy good wooden EQ signs? Timber Owl Etsy. Yeah, this stuff is gorgeous. I could have sworn somebody on the team had some stuff from here. Yeah, that's wonderful. This is the one that you got? Congratulations. That's really cool. Little rich for my blood. But if I'm ever gamefully employed again, you should be excited. Good for you. It's super cool. There's some really cool stuff here. Meet your seller, Zach. Zach, you are pretty awesome if you're out there. Yeah, they look like there's some stuff that's, you know, smaller that is a little more affordable. You guys definitely check it out if you're not already into it. Sparrow said drying herbs, picking peppers, zucchini is almost done. I need to harvest and dry some of the tobacco that I've got growing. The tobacco, for the most part, didn't give a shit. It's a weed. It just grows and grows. Some of my tomatoes are kind of coming back, so we maybe get a couple tomatoes. I've got a few bags of potatoes to harvest. I've got like the felt sort of round bucket bag things. I still got like 4 of those. Still to harvest. Share those with the neighbors. We harvested. We have this old plum tree that was there when we took the garden over, and it's been looking pretty rough. And everybody's like, "Oh, you should cut it down. It's looking old and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Nope. I'm gonna talk to it. I'm gonna give it high fives whenever I'm in the garden hanging out. I'm gonna give it more water." And it rained enough this summer that, like, last year it had like 5 plums on it, and this year we probably harvested the other day, I mean, easily 6 kilos worth of plums, and distributed them to our neighbors and stuff. And one lady already made like a wonderful plum cake. We got to have that the next day. Oh man, we've got like 3 bags of plums in the freezers now. I've already pitted them and all that stuff. Sorry guys, you got to understand, if you're not a part of my Discord, gardening's a big deal. So if you're watching this thinking it's just going to be M&M talk, it rarely is just M&M talk. Sparrow said, just bought my first pressure canner. Still haven't braved it, but have a lot of water bath canning. I have done no canning, so I just want to learn it in German. Wait, I just want to learn it in general. I said that right as Stadvik was saying 6 kilos of pure German plums. Oh, Zukin's the one. Zukin said he's got the Hagelbaron sign from Zach's shop. That's badass. Okay, so back to the tool. We've got spawners up again. We've got this guy. No, let's select this guy. Cool. Let's hit this button instead. And let's switch what the command is to wander and volume. 0 issues. Okay, good. So it was just pushing this button that's was not the best idea. All right, pause chance. I'm gonna bone this up a bit to like a 70% chance of pause, and they're gonna pause for 5 seconds, give or take 2 seconds, and then we're gonna hit save. Cool. Then we're looking here. These guys. These should be it. I'm fairly certain these are it. Or am I in the wrong spot? Where am I? Usually it's a little bit more obvious where I am. Player controller. Where's my player controller? Client. Okay, I'm over there. So let's do these guys as well. Cool. New command. Wander in volume. Do the same deal. 50% chance. 5. 2. So it means they'll pause somewhere between 3 and 7 seconds. The question was, how does Zukin like his sign that he got? Zukin said, great, I love it. I wanted a sign from Kabbalist that had the XR symbol on it. Oh, man. If I ever actually get all my shit out of storage, move to Germany, I'll send you an old notebook that I made, Zukin. It's just like a normal spiral notebook. But I was bored one day at the sign shop that I was working at when I was planning to move to California, and because we made vinyl signs, I just took a piece of vinyl and made printed out the XR symbol, and then did it in negative. So it was like just a piece of vinyl, peeled out the XR symbol, and then put another piece of vinyl over it and like pushed it down. So it's like this kind of, what would that be called? A relief? Or instead of embossed, it's like a relief. So it's like this, looks kind of like a leather notebook with the XR symbol in relief on it. Almost bought the bank sign too. Forget what that looks like. I'd have to go back to the Etsy. Yeah, the little notebook turned out way better than I was expecting. That's why I kept it. Did I take a picture of that? Yep, that is the symbol. No guy who got the XR symbol tattooed on his chest. Oh, that's nice. I mean, XR people go hard. Keith, I found an issue, but I think it's good so far. I'm about to test it. Was spending some time just like looking at what had gone on. So let's go into game / reload. Now they're moving. And this guy's not going to move because he's the placeholder boss guy. Oh, no worries. I was mainly just trying to figure out if I understood what had gone wrong. And I think I figured it out. So adding commands, Keith, works fine. Unless you use this button over here. And then it breaks stuff. The plus that's right next on the same line as the commands. Oh, yes, he said. And then I also realized that you can load you can load the data twice, right? So because the tools aren't, it's not like they don't seem to be aware of each other, which I was telling folks here makes sense to me because it's a new tool and the tool is just loading data. So like I can load the data with your tool, and then I was like, oh, but it's not showing, because I had it loaded here and I was like, oh man, did he make it so that the inspector doesn't work anymore? And I was, what? And so then I went over and found the zone panel and then enabled spawners on the zone panel as well. Wait for it. Yeah. And now we got double data, which is fine because it makes sense that would do that. So for now, while we're using two tools, I think that's completely normal and acceptable. What's the T? The T is text. So everywhere you're seeing T, that's actually Unity's gizmos. And the T is indicating that's the name tag. So the name tag is the text. And the fire beetles have a little glow to them, so you can see the little orange light. So that's just Unity gizmos, right? So if we turn off Unity gizmos, then we're not seeing any of sort of Unity's info or data for those assets. We're just seeing our data loaded in, and then if I turn off that, do they only glow if they contain a light source? Like, they all have a light source or just some? They all do. Each one of them has a light source in the prefab. Because these are all, the same prefab just being loaded in different instances. Right, and so if we look here, this is what the fire beetle is like made out of. Right, so we got the various prefabs cloned. Then we got the beetle. All right, and the beetle's got an animator associated with it. Colliders. Art, the body. Name tag. All sorts of stuff. No, it's not. That loot information is not part of this data structure. So if we want to look at, so this is everything that we can look at here in the Unity hierarchy. But if we want to look at like what is this NPC kind of made out of, air quotes made out of, in data, then we would use a GM command, which here, I'll go full screen, maybe it'll be easier. So here I would do a /stats, and then we can start to get that data as well, right? So, and I don't think there's any spoilers here, but essentially it's giving me all of the data that would be associated with this NPC as part of its NPC record, or all of it that we expose in here, because there's a lot of values, so we're not going to expose all of it in there. It'd be unwieldy. But like if I go here, I go F beetle. Well, we've got enough NPCs. We got like 1596 rows now. So let me click show all, and then F. Is that not it? Fire beetle. Well, I'll just go by the actual proper name then. Fire beetle. A fire beetle. For some reason I thought it was that. Oh, I'm thinking of the items. Sorry. So a fire beetle. Beetle? Really? NPC. Okay, that's fine then. Whatever. Does that even make sense? A fire beetle, okay. Yeah. So anyway, it's showing us the class, the level, hit points, mana, race, faction, its stats, resist, all of that type of stuff. And then so it's showing us all of the information from here that we've decided to expose, right? But there's a lot of other data that we have here. It's like, is it unique? Is it non-hostile? Is it non-social? Can it see invis or invis undead? Can it see stealth? Is it no stun? Is it no mez? Blah, blah, blah. Right. What does it say on aggro or on death, if anything? Does it have anything modifying its aesthetics? Does it have attachments or any tags or any of that stuff, right? All the stuff. And then, but it's also showing us information from like the loot table and the NPC loot table, right? So fire beetle, right? And it's going to have like these loot tables associated with it. And then these loot tables are defined over here. Beetle. And this will actually show us what's on those loot tables, right? So beetle eye, fire beetle shell, fire beetle glands, that kind of stuff. That's so cool. It's kind of like your own monster manual in a database. Yeah, so, well, we've got our own monster manual, which is our internal wiki, which I never show off. But we've got our own wiki that's built in Confluence. And so that's kind of more the monster manual in terms of like maybe a concept and base description of it or whatever. Though, to be honest, we're pretty inconsistent there. You're going to find more monster information in database, so that's fair. Yeah, and then there's this data, right? And it's easier for us to keep, like it would be rad if we had a way for our wiki or Confluence to automatically just pull from the database and have that information in here. That'd make it kind of cool looking. But since we've got access to the database, we can just come in here and look, right? So there's no point in maintaining data in two places. And then when we're in here, we can actually click on the guy and then get stats, and it'll tell us like what's its possible drops, right? So no spoilers here, but there's the base drops and the percentages. So like fire beetle shell or a fire beetle gland. There's the like raw beetle meat. We have the ability to and we'll probably be doing more and more of this kind of stuff. We have the ability for NPCs to drop unique items based on the conditions with which it was killed. Right? So we mainly do this for quests at the moment. So you may be sent on a quest to get like a specific residue off a skeleton. And then rather than have every skeleton drop that residue and each time you go, what's this shit for? Because you're not on the quest. We can have it drop only if somebody who is actively on the quest does something to the skeleton. But rather than have it just be a client side thing where it's just you see it, like a quest token or a quest flag, which is the way a lot of more modern systems work. We have it so that it still appears in the world. Like if I use, like if I'm a necromancer and I use like a weaken spell and I'm told to go out and use like, enfeeblement or something. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. Like use some spell that basically weakens the mob. The skeleton in this example. This is all made up. Then what could happen is I hit it with the spell, and when it dies, it will roll a table just like this to drop maybe like a degraded femur or like a, you know, like a brittle bone. Now the brittle bone, say the rogue kills it, and the rogue like goes to loot it and will go, hey, there's a brittle bone on here, which then makes it so that it's part of the world. And then the necromancer can be like, oh, I need that for my quest. And so it's essentially, it's a conditional drop table is one of the things that we added. But then Nick's put something cool on here. If you look here, there's actually cooked beetle meat. And so if I remember how he did it correctly, I could have sworn it was also conditional, so that like if you blast it with a fire spell of some sort, you don't just get meat, you get the meat already cooked. It's just kind of like a fun, quirky thing. So there'll be a lot of that like little stuff that we put in. It's kind of got a flavor thing to it, or maybe it's linked to certain quests or whatever, right? So conditional drops were just one of those things that came to mind where it's like, I think I first asked Ollie about that because we were doing the newbie quests, and it was like, how do you make something that's specific in the system that we have, specific to a class without it being out of place, right? So like I think the original example use case that I thought of was like, if I wanted to drop a precisely pierced skull for like the archer, you know, and have that only happen if the archer crits with the bow or uses a specific spell, or sorry, ability, then, because it would be weird if there's no archers in the group and there's a precisely pierced skull, right? Or a singed whatever. And one of the things I really love about working on this project is the time, the ideation to like execution time is so tight on things often that it's like, hey, Ollie, can we do this? And then Ollie will be like, yeah, that's not hard at all. And then all of a sudden we'll have the ability to do it. So it's kind of fun. Mr. Diesel 53, thank you for the follow. Chaos and Lead, thank you for the follow. Wizard has cast Fireball at Snake. Cooking has increased to 10. It's funny you say that. That's one of those things where I mean, it's doable, right? Everything's doable in code. But it's one of those interesting discussions that we would have where we're like, should we account for that as well? Aslich said, need coal too in case fire too big. Yeah, that'd be funny. Kind of like an overkill value. And then one of the things that you'll see here as well is, which has been helpful, is we can apply we can apply loot to specific NPCs via specific table. But then we can also do it just via tags. So like this selector here is based on tags. And so it should be R:, so that's race, beetle. And L1, I forget because I haven't put one in a while, if L1 is up to or L2 is up to. But it looks like L1 is up to, and it's essentially up to level 70. So every beetle up to level 70 will drop cooked beetle meat in this setup. And then selector our beetle is just every beetle, period, I believe, raw beetle meat. Yeah, so I think that's accurate. And again, that's all just stuff that we're doing over here. So if we All right. So, oops. Those of you that haven't been around for a while, I don't know. It's been quite a while. It's been months since we added this, but we have the ability to turn our light sources on and off now. And even in a temporary UI, it shows that. Since they burn through charges, our light sources actually, you can see it's got 30 charges. I forget what increment of time consumes a charge, but torches have fuel now as well. What are we using for fuel? Bandages or? I know there was the old recipe. Gnome blood. Oh, you guys. Because gnomes are so hot. Hot. Psst. Psst. Death to gnomes. Death to gnomes says, death to all gnomes. Well, dude means it. Yeah. Absolutely dedicated to the cause, death to gnomes is. Fat Matt loves spaghetti and death to gnomes. Two people where you know exactly where they stand on something. Hey, Bite Keeper. Petty Soul Essence fuels Necrolanterns, just a thought. Where do you get the Petty Soul Essence? Is the selector an individual random roll object or like a pointer? Use dumbified terms so I understand what you're asking. Dumb that down for me, Nicodemus, with your big brain. Guys, I'm lost. I'm a halfling. I still think it's pretty cute. When I put a hood on, it hides my hair, which at the moment also hides the hair on my feet because they're linked. It's so cute. And then I take my hood off so you can see my hair and my feet hair come back. I love it. That's one of the cutest bugs. When I saw that the hair color when you're making your halfling and character create, when you change your hair color, it changes your foot hair color as well. I thought that was great. Shaved halfling does not equal a gnome. Come on now. Ooh. Goodness. Ooh, I still got some in here. Mmm. The purple Red Bull tastes so good. That command add button has been removed. Awesome, Keith. Because it was doing some crazy shit. Stout T said, I actually gave up caffeine recently. Struggled for 4 days. Now I feel great. I might do that at some point, but I don't know. Jasmine and I, we've decided... So for like the last year, I've been finding... I live in Germany, for those of you that don't know. Germany has some really good beer. And really good bread. And really good cake. Really good desserts. And I was yeah, and so it's easy to consume too much of that. And so one of my favorite things in the years I've been in Germany has just been I love grabbing a beer, walking around. You know, you can walk around the town with a beer in your hand, no one cares. So it's such a beer culture. It's so easy to drink lots and lots of beers. And I keep thinking, wouldn't it be nice to take like a month or two off from drinking any beer and see if I can lose a little bit of the waste. Got a little waste going on, and just see what my energy levels are like. And so, but there's never a good month. You don't want to do it during the summer because you garden, and then you want to drink some beers with the neighbors in the garden, and yeah, and then weekend rolls around, you're like, nah, and then it's like, it's nice outside, good time for a beer. And then it's like, oh, it's October, it's not as nice outside, but Oktoberfest. And then it's like, all right, well, now the Christmas markets are around, right? And so the Christmas markets, oh man, some glue wine, blah, blah, blah. So there's never a good month, right? Like February. And who gives a shit about February? So Jasmine and I just decided we committed. And this was a shocker for like our garden neighbors and everybody. We're like, we decided 1 year without beer. 1 year without beer. Back in the day when I was like in my 30s, I took 2 years without drinking. All I did was like train and try to be healthy and all this stuff. You know, and people would bug me at parties or whatever, and so Thursday will be 1 month without any alcohol. And I've got to tell you, my energy levels are through the roof already. Like just my base energy level, grumpiness. I haven't been grumpy in a month. Like, get done at the garden, because Germany's got, I read an article, Germany's got between 400 and 500 different varieties of non-alcoholic beer. So when I go to the grocery store, they've got a beer section that is like massive. But every one of them has like a non-alcoholic version. So we've been trying those out, and it's been kind of cool. Like, we get done at the garden, and and everybody's like, oh, beer. And, you know, they joke with us or whatever, but they respect the fact that we're trying it. And like, we'll just drink non-alcoholic beers or Radler, which is like, beer, lemonade mix, which is only typically 2.5% anyways. So you're not missing that much. And so drink a few of those and then get done and come home. And like still not buzzed, got all the energy that, you know, I would normally have or whatever. And it's been really nice. It's been really productive. It's been really nice not having a hangover in a month, right? Like all that shit. So yeah, I'm excited. Thanks, Isan. Zukin said never got into coffee or beer, but the bread would probably get me. Oh, but the thing is, if you're not drinking coffee or beer, you got the calories available for bread. The bread here is fantastic. Fielder said, yeah, I had the same thing when I used to hike Griffith Park. When I stopped drinking, I stopped hacking and wheezing on the climb. I can imagine. Nicodemus said, serious question, when going to something like GDC and trying to make networking connections but don't want to drink, what is the best way to pass on a drink without hurting the chance at a good opportunity? There's so much drinking going on at those events. So one of the reasons why I drink is I'm a weird mix of I'm pretty extroverted. In social settings, I'm pretty extroverted. I don't have trouble like talking to people or being a goofball or whatever. But I have social anxiety. right? Like I get it in my mind that I'm uncomfortable in social settings. What I've found when I haven't drank, because when I worked at a nightclub in DC, I also stopped drinking for pretty much the entire time I worked there, just because I was around alcohol so much and drunk people. I was like, I don't want to do this. Yeah, I was about to say what Aramis said. Like, I need a beer prop. I need something in my hand, right? And I notice that if I'm around people, I'll drink a water or a non-alcoholic beer just as fast as I drink beer for the most part, right? Like I'm always just wanting to sip. What I found when I wasn't drinking before, yeah, I would get water. And a lot of times like a water, especially a water with a lime or a soda water with a lime, it doesn't look much different than like a mixed drink or a long drink. One of the drinks I like when I'm drinking is a vodka water. And so like if you've got something in your hand, they may be like, hey, what are you drinking? And you can say, I'm drinking water. And what's happening is a friend of mine is actually owns a ginger beer company in California, and part of his sort of business plan and stuff, and one of the things that he's noticing, and the more articles I read, non-alcoholic drinks and people not drinking is actually getting really popular. A lot of people are like starting to try out just not drinking, right? And there are a number of like really big content creators and like health focused content creators. Like I don't know if you've checked out like the Huberman podcast. And is it Chris Williamson? There are a number of people that like are basically coming up in the sort of don't drink category. And so it's a lot easier to do these days. Plus there's non-alcoholic whiskey, there's non-alcoholic gin, there's non-alcoholic wine, there's non-alcoholic beers all over. Like, no joke, there's a ton of non-alcoholic beer now. So non-alcoholic beer. Yeah, it's getting super popular. Let me, because there is something. I wish I could find the article. Non-alcoholic beer, maybe Germany? You guys are saying some interesting stuff in chat, so I'm going to get to that in a second, but yeah, this is interesting. How Germany became a leading innovator and consumer of non-alcoholic beer. Yeah, it's something like 10 to 15% of all beer consumed in Germany now. Yeah, 10% of all beer consumed in Germany will soon be non-alcoholic. There are more than 700 brands on the market. So I don't know that I can not do caffeine, and I do smoke a pipe, right? So for me, it's nice to be able to sit on the balcony or sit at the garden and smoke my pipe and have some caffeine. But the not drinking part of it's actually been feeling really good this time around. Nicodemus said, I'm not against drinking, don't get me wrong, but a lot of conversations going on, I don't want to overdo it. Too much drinking may cause lost opportunity. Exactly. And it's even just that kind of like waking up the next day where it's like, I think everything went well, but by the end of the night, like I've got enough buzz that now the short-term memory, part of things is not great. Keith said the beer guy at the store mentioned that NA beers are super popular now. Yep. In 2022, according to figures from British hospitality publication Morning Advertiser, the beer. Oh, they're talking about a specific one. Yeah. Yeah. So, and a lot of people are also using it to do a mix. So, like, you have a beer, and then you'll have like a few non-alcoholic beers, and then have a beer, or like you have a mixed drink, and instead of mixing it with like you know, just whiskey. It's non-alcoholic whiskey and whatever else is in the long drink that does have some alcohol, right? So it's a tool. How much do I miss sweet tea? So sweet tea is kind of like alcohol. I miss it, but dude, if I was around sweet tea all the time, I'd be an additional probably 20 kilos, and 2 kilos of that would probably be kidney stones. There's a bar that opened in Dublin called the Virgin Mary that has normal pub drinks, just non-alcoholic. Oh, that's a really cool idea as well. Dark Inside said, I don't need alcohol to have fun. Plus, I have FASD. I don't know that. So I don't get drunk very easily, but I know if I drink more than a couple drinks a year, it'd be more risk of being addicted. Yeah. Since we're on the topic, I'll share this one. I'll put the link in chat in a second. Because it's an interesting one. And don't get me wrong, in a year, I'll have a beer. But we've committed to do this, and I really like Jasmine and I, we like physical challenges, or we like challenges like that where it's like, ooh, you know, we got to force ourselves to be disciplined on some topic. Absolutely, Nicodemus. And honestly, just like, I forget who said it above, a couple people mentioned, if people are like weird about the fact that you don't want to drink, then whatever, that's on them. I ran into that when I was on DC Universe. Like, I think I've told a story before. I went through like, just the project was super weird and some silly shit happened, and I wound up having like really bad anxiety as a result for a period, and went to a therapist, but then also went to a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist wound up prescribing benzodiazepines for the anxiety, which in the long term wound up being a really bad move. But she was like, you can't drink when you take these. And so that kicked off like a multi-year period of me not drinking. And all I did was like work out, and I was in really good shape with the exception of the pills are horrible for you too. But the thing was that project, man, like going out with those guys during like E3 or Comic-Con or this other crap, yeah, so anyways, like going on outings with folks, not drinking. People that didn't know me very well would be like, hey man, no, come on, why not? That's weird, whatever. But then they'd get over it and I didn't give a shit. But there are a couple times when I wound up being designated driver because of it, because it's like, and there are a couple times as well where it was good that somebody was sober to kind of watch what was going on. And what I found is when everybody else is drunk, it's kind of like being drunk. Because it's already weird. So fetal alcohol, something disorder, which meaning it's a mental disability. Okay, yeah, I can definitely look that up. I don't know, maybe Huberman mentions it here. I'm gonna click the link and then I'm gonna hit pause.
Welcome to the Huberman Lab podcast.
Boom. So this guy is got a really good Andrew Huberman. I don't know why I thought it was John. He's got a really awesome podcast. I think he's a neuroscientist. Let's see. I'll copy the link. About he's Dr. Andrew Huberman, neuroscientist and tenured professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford. He's got a really cool, cool podcast. if you're into like health and fitness and all sorts of stuff. But his like this video on the effects of alcohol, like there's a lot of shit in here I didn't realize either. Jasmine and I watched it and we're like, ooh, I guess that makes sense. Didn't realize it was that bad for me. But yeah. Nicodemus said, I was at a CCP party once in Atlanta. It was insane how much alcohol was passed around. I learned a lot, though, from the experience. Just did not know how much socializing games did. Yeah. That was... Didn't they acquire... Was it them that acquired White Wolf, or were they just working... Because was it CCP or was it Funcom? Because I thought some of my former coworkers were at CCP Atlanta when that project was going on. Anyways, yeah, I remember the old White Wolf guys, the tabletop guys, wound up hanging out with us at a fan fair in Baltimore, and I for real thought I got alcohol poisoning. It was so bad. The fanfares were brutal. Death to Gnome said my ex played White Wolf on AOL chat rooms. I forgot it even went back that far. Zuby said, I was at the last SOE Live in Vegas in 2014 and everyone was drunk the entire week. Yeah, pretty much. Death Gnomes, was it just a chat room where they just happened to play, or was it actually set up kind of like a mud or something like that? Yeah, Justin, it's tough, man. It's tough. Because you get meds to help you feel better about some things, and then they mess you up in other areas as well. That's something I've been talking to my dad about a lot lately, because he's got a bunch of meds. Just chat room with usual moderators that usually ran the games. Oh, okay. First, yeah, when you first said it, I was like, wait, was it like a... Was it, you know, was it a mud? Ooh, where are these guys? I haven't gone over and actually looked at these guys yet. Some of the tools, what is it? What's the D&D, the online D&D sort of platform tool thing? Again, it's not D&D 1. What is the... Is it Roll20? Roll20, okay. It looks really cool, right? Like I've seen a lot of stuff about that look really cool, and then having access to all the like is it Roll20 or Beyond? Oh, I'm thinking of Beyond, the official one. Thanks, Scuff Boomer. And Quicksana. Yeah, so not the sort of external one.
Tata smiley face.
Dragon. Thank you for 5 months, buddy. Yeah, so anyway, the official one, Beyond. Like, it looks really cool. I just haven't been super excited about some of the stuff that the company's been doing, which is a shame. Because Beyond looks really cool. As far as services go. Yeah, we got some quirks with the new player controller that, as you can see, as I'm running up hills and stuff. What governs jump? Is there a modifier or is it static for all races? I believe the new implementation of the controller is adjusted per race. Huh. I thought there was... Oh, there they are. Cool. Let's run over here. Nicodemus said, I'm sort of 50-50 on Beyond's business model. I feel digital content should be priced less than physical products of the same content. Is the pricing 1 for 1? That'd be kind of weird. Good. Yeah, it seems like because you don't own any of it, right? Nicodemus, right? So paying monthly for access to the products and only being able to use them on that platform and then not keeping them when you don't pay anymore, seems like... Right, so because if I'm paying the same amount for physical goods, whether that be books or modules or like figurines or whatever, then my assumption is I get to keep them forever and they're independent of the platform, which I don't think that's the case. So... Physical items can also retain or increase in value. It's true. Enceladus said the whole digital thing is benefiting the people at the top a lot more than the average person, regardless of propaganda spewed. I hope so. Please play our digital game. John said things used to be on floppy disks. CDs came out and it was claimed it would be cheaper. Prices never changed. DVDs to replace multiple CDs. Price didn't change. Blu-ray didn't change. Digital cheaper because of no physical stuff to make. Price didn't change. It's because the production costs went up, buddy. Production costs went up. Prepare to pay us $50 a month subscription, please. Just kidding. Are these guys not moving? If you remove gnomes. I tell you what, we'll put that option in. We just won't render gnomes. But it will cost you $50 a month. That's how we'll upsell. But in true form, we'll also increase the number of gnomes in the game in order to encourage you to pay $50 a month. Should put in some goggles that when you equip them, all gnomes no longer render. For $50 a month, Zukin. Come on, buddy. Don't mess this up here. We're onto something. This will benefit you as well, Zukin. Nicodemus said, I've heard you in the past mention you would like to sell a physical copy of M&M. I hope that will happen. Maybe cheaper to do a digital game, but I love having stuff to hold on to. Yeah, for us, it's really like a vanity thing. It's one of those things where if the game's making enough money to allow us to do something like make physical, make a box, make maps and books and all of that stuff, then that's a great goal. What's going on with this spawner? Okay, that's what I thought. Let's do that temporarily. Why does it go so low? One of the cooler aspects of the box game were things like the box cover art, maps, art books, etc. The newer generation doesn't realize there is more artwork put into the art of manuals, maps, etc. than most of the art in the games themselves these days. Keith, as soon as I did that, I was like, man, Keith's watching. He's probably thinking, why didn't you use the new tool? I knew it was coming. Sorry, buddy. As soon as I did it, I realized it. Old habits. And so this, yeah, I was just showing the new book that I got, right? And they show like the Ultima manual, which we've used as like a inspiration here as well. Oh, where was it? Oh no, actually I think it's up. Oh yeah. These old manuals were badass. So we're going to be doing a website update. And there's some really great artwork that Goblin's been prepping for that. So I'll show you one. Like we've got class specific art, and some race stuff and some other stuff will be hard copy maps being shipped. Like cloth maps would be really nice to be able to do. But for us, it will be to be able to do, just because there's production costs in advance. We still want to do the plush, the old capsule critters, plush versions of that. I actually found a place I can make them. Enceladus said, yeah, exactly, stuff like that. Flipped through, I think, Might and Magic a couple years ago, was blown away how there's hand-drawn piece of art on every few pages. Yep. EQ did cloth maps. I want a whole book with all the maps. A whole book of cloth maps. Capsule body pillow. We're doing we want to do a, we've even mocked up the design of a gnome sized body pillow. Little sexy, like Burt Reynolds laying on a bear rug kind of gnome. And if you act like you don't want it, I don't even want to hear it, because I know you're full of shit, John. A whole book of cloth maps would be pricey, but fun to yeah, it would be, that would definitely be deluxe. Deluxe. Halfling with fuzzy feet would be sexier. Maybe we'll make a whole series of, body pillows. Death to Gnomes. Death to Gnomes is Death to Gnomes is asking like they're not going to have a whole, just a whole room full of gnome body pillows. I can picture you now, Death to Gnomes. You've got your secret room full of gnome body pillows. The waifu body pillow room, and you get it's probably hidden behind like a secret panel in your place. I don't know if it's like a bookshelf or something even more elusive. And I can picture you now. You shower and then towel off so that you're perfectly clean. Little baby powder. You put on like little cloth booties as you walk across the floor towards the secret panel. The lighting and the music is just right. You enter the combination. The panel opens, revealing the soft glow of the gnome body pillows. You take off your booties. And you step in your sanctuary. And you swim around in gnome body pillows like Scrooge McDuck. You're the Scrooge McDuck of gnome body pillows. Sean Miss is calling. Fantasy romance writer. How do you think we're financing this game? I'll never tell you my pin name. 50 Shades of Gnome. Yeah. Yeah. Stop it, you're killing me over here. I hope I made your day a little bit brighter. Tell you what you can think about that body pillow room as long as you put it in game. Dragon said some of the pillows have a harder spot than well. We'll keep it in mind. There may be some body pillow rooms. Some of the pillows are lumpier. Okay, now you guys are getting too crazy. Which is fine because I'm only 3 minutes away from 11. Let's see. There was a domain name that I wanted to buy so bad to link our shop to. Let me see if it's still owned. Somebody got it right after I looked it up. I swear it's a scam looking stuff up. They got it and now it costs money. Oh, actually they registered it. They registered in 2019, so I'm full of shit. Yeah, so I really want onlygnomes.com and it's not available. I'm curious, what's actually there? I'm going to look this up on a different monitor. Well, I'm definitely not clicking on the subreddit until after the stream. What subreddit? Only Gnomes? NSFW. For those who seek to delve into the world of ... I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know. It's for sale. The price has gone up. It was 800 euro. It's like the more I talk about this, the more the price goes up. Lease to own. Oh man. David says it probably really does base the price on how many recent hits they've gotten. I wouldn't be shocked. It makes sense that it would work that way. Dan.com, a GoDaddy brand. Yeah. Alright guys, it's 11 o'clock. And it is time for me to wrap up here and try to get some sleep. My hands actually tell me it's time for bed as well. Oh. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Convenient, you just found Only Gnome subreddit and now you want to go offline. It's weird that I had such a detailed description of a secret room filled with gnome pillows, isn't it? I'm either really creative or just telling you the truth. All right, guys, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to be gone on Thursday. Like I said, Jasmine and I are going out of town to go hiking for her birthday this weekend, but I will be back on Tuesday. And next week will be Tuesday and Thursday stream for sure. For real. And, yeah. I will let her know, Nicodemus. Thank you. It's Zuby. Take care. DDJ, good night. Have a great day. Keith, thank you. Fielder, thank you very much. I will let her know. See you next week. Isan, see you, buddy. Good night, Goblin. Oh, Goblin's going to be streaming some Eminem class backgrounds like the one that I just showed you in a bit. So definitely keep an eye out for that. If you're not in our Discord, you should be. And then you'll be notified when Goblin is streaming. Quick Santa, see you. Stout T, see ya. Thank you. Toodles Dragon, thanks again. Nicodemus, yeah, I've already said I'll tell her, but yes, thank you. Aslich, thank you very much. Yeah, John, I'm hoping my garden neighbor, oh my god, my poor garden neighbor, her and her husband, they were on their way, they go to Egypt on this awesome vacation each year, and I just found out today that she just hurt her hand really bad. She works in the butcher department at a grocery store, and I'm like, what is going on? First Jasmine breaks her foot, I break my hand, now she cut her hand. This year has not been good on body parts. Oh, so it's sad. But anyway, I will be very careful during the hike. I will be back on Tuesday in one piece. Honest, it does happen in threes. That's true. Thank you, Dragon Lee. John, thank you again. I think I might have already said it, but see you. Sparrow, you're very welcome. Lazy Lion's Den, goodbye. Pessimistic Squid, thank you. Aramisk, you're welcome. And what? Goblin hurt his ankle hard 2 days ago as well. Man, we gotta get this year over with. It's cursed. Alright, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks again for being here. I will see you next Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend.